Hey y'all, what's up? Jamie, that's me here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another conversation regarding Miss Shanquella Robinson. Okay, so last night I came to you guys with a video regarding the Shanquella Robinson case, and there was a story that was put out there saying that Dejanay Jackson has indeed been arrested. Okay, that story came from Gerardo Zuniga. Okay, the same person that's been interviewed by the lead attorney. He's spoken with Chronicle Speaks. He's also had a sit down interview with the North Carolina Beat. And I am going to touch on that interview at a later time. Okay. Based on what he is reporting, is bringing about a lot of speculation, a lot of conversation. And it's really troublesome because so many people have so much to say. Like, it's so much misinformation going out already ever since the beginning of the case, right? So now that we're learning about a possible arrest when it comes to Dejanay Jackson, you have some people believing she's been arrested, and then you have others believing that she has not been arrested because it has not been reported over here in America. And currently, he is the only person that is a source to say that she's been arrested. So as I started to think more about it and I looked into the article, it was a bit confusing because I kind of thought to myself, well, if she is indeed arrested and she was arrested on American soil, why would us Americans not know about it when we're the ones that's creating the most uproar about it? You would think that they would want to notify us, even though the warrant and everything is out in Mexico, right? So they're the ones that want her. So maybe we wouldn't get the information. Not necessarily true. I'm sorry, not necessarily sure. But another thing that I thought about was last week when it came down to the arrest warrant. I do know that Metri Poly MX Gerardo Zuniga, because this is his website. I do know that on last week he pretty much dropped the story that Mexico was seeking an arrest warrants towards someone, and they would not name who. Right, so I saw a lot of large publications repeating this information and quoting him and his website. And then the next thing I saw, which I believe was on Thanksgiving Day, I saw that Mexico ended up putting out a press release, okay, saying that they are indeed, putting out an arrest warrant and stuff, and they want to get this person extradited back to Mexico, right? So that's another thing that kind of makes me think, okay, well, maybe Mr. Zuniga is, being honest. He is coming to us with some true information that this young lady was arrested, because he definitely told us about the arrest warrant, and the next thing you know, they made the announcement, right? But I'm still not sure. I feel like it's possible. We did have a large news company, ABC / Good Morning America, to make an announcement saying that somebody had been arrested. Okay, they still have that video up somewhere on their YouTube channel. I understand that the YouTube video is titled "Arrest Warrant Issued," but if you actually watch the video and you actually listen to what they're saying, there is someone that says that a person has been arrested. And if you look at the lower third on the video, you'll see where they say on the actual video, not the title of the video, but on the actual video, they say arrest made. Okay, so because of what they're saying, and then you have Mr. Zuniga coming in with what he's saying that Dejanay was arrested on Sunday night. A lot of people are believing it, but because a lot of other publications, your primary sources that you may go to, because they're not posting about it, a lot of people are a bit skeptical about whether or not it's true. And I actually was super excited when I heard the news, but as I continue to think about it and I read the article and stuff, it kind of does make me a little bit on the fence as well. Like, well, is she actually arrested or is she not? So it's a lot, going on. So I wanted to let me see if I still have it, because I definitely wanted to pull up Interpol, because I was kind of like, well, what does Interpol do? Because it sounds like they just primarily process documentation, and they are the liaison between America and Mexico. But from my understanding, they don't do any arrests. But real quick, let me put this up on the screen real quick so we can get into what that article said on yesterday and some things that kind of raised my eyebrows. Okay. So he says that Dejanay Jackson was arrested by Interpol agents. Okay. Interpol agents after a controlled judge issued a warrant against her for a crime of femicide. So I'm like, Interpol agents. Okay. Let me go ahead and let me actually ask that question. So I'm like, Interpol agents. Okay. So I want to know whether or not they can actually arrest people. So let me pull this over here so that you guys can see that, because I am a bit confused, okay? So as I zoom in on this, people ask, can Interpol arrest you? Interpol is what they're saying, reported by justice.gov. They're saying Interpol does not have its own law enforcement agents. Interpol provides investigative support and secure communications between law enforcement authorities and their counterparts in 190 Interpol member countries, as well as administering their access to Interpol databases, resources, and services. Okay. So it doesn't seem like they are the ones that actually goes out and do the arresting. So when he says that they were arrested by Interpol agents, it's like, did you get that one terminology wrong? Were they arrested by other agents and you just happen to say Interpol? Which one is it? So it definitely leaves a bit of confusion. And I understand why some people are confused and are saying, no, she's not arrested yet. She's not arrested yet. So I totally get it. Okay. Let's see what else he said here. Desjanée Jackson was placed in federal custody, waiting for her to begin her extradition process to Mexico. So then I kind of was like, well, how long does that process typically take? Like, what is the extradition, process? So then I came over to Council on Foreign Relations, and for a lot of people wondering, I'll just read pretty much everything that's on this on their website. So the first question is, what is extradition? The extradition process enables governments to bring fugitives abroad to justice, but it can be fraught with political tension even when a treaty is in place. Okay, so the summary says extradition treaties help governments bring criminals who have fled their country to justice. An extradition treaty does not guarantee the signatories will work harmoniously on cases. Okay, in the United States, the Marshals Services handles the majority of international extraditions. So it sounds like to me, if this young lady was indeed arrested, it won't be by Interpol agents, it will be by the Marshals. Okay, the U.S. Marshals will go and take her and then make sure everything happens for her to be extradited back to another country. At least that's how I understand it. For you guys that are more skilled on it, definitely leave your thoughts down below. Okay. Excuse me. So let's see what else I want to get into. Building on a practice dating back to antiquity, states forge extradition. Okay. So let's get down to what is extradition. I kind of read that to you guys, but I'll give it to you again. Extradition is the formal process of one state surrendering an individual to another state for prosecution or punishment for crimes admitted in the requesting country's jurisdiction. It typically is enabled by a bilateral or multilateral treaty. Some states will extradite without a treaty, but those cases are rare. And I do believe that, America and Mexico do have some sort of treaty. Okay. What is an extradition treaty? Treaties signed in recent decades tend to take a dual criminality approach, classifying as extraditable all crimes that are punishable in both jurisdictions. Okay. Older extradition treaties, by contrast, tend to list covered offenses. For instance, the treaty between Albania and the United States, which was signed in 1933, includes an inventory of more than 24 crimes, including murder, RAPE, arson, and burglary. Okay. Many extradition treaties only allow extradition for crimes that carry a punishment of more than 1 year. Okay. Let's see. Treaties also define instances when extradition is to be denied. For instance, authorities generally cannot extradite individuals for military or political offenses, with exceptions for terrorism and other violent acts. Okay. Some states will not extradite to jurisdictions with capital punishment or life imprisonment under any circumstances, or unless the requesting authority pledges not to impose those penalties. Okay. So then the question becomes, how does the U.S. extradition process works? Okay. Extraditions from the United States, the process generally begins with a foreign government making a request to the U.S. State Department with treaty required paperwork, okay, which often includes details on the person sought, the offenses alleged, charging documents, arrest warrants, and evidence, okay. When foreign authorities believe there is a flight risk, they can request a a provisional arrest and detention while they assemble the required material. Now, see, this is the part that's kind of interesting to me, and I'm just like, huh? So when foreign authorities believe there is a flight risk, they can request a provisional arrest and detention. So in this man's article, he said something else that was interesting. He said, waiting for her to, he says, Dejanay Jackson was placed in federal custody, waiting for her to begin her extradition process to Mexico. That's interesting because now when I look at this one little sentence here, when foreign authorities believe there's a flight risk, they can request a provisional arrest and detention while they assemble the required material. Is it possible that she could be locked up as we're waiting for all of the paperwork to be finalized for her to be fully extradited? But if she was fully in their custody, there is a website that you could go to, from my understanding, that I checked out, and I didn't see her name on that list. So I'm wondering, like, is there another website that you can use if she is indeed in custody and it hasn't been announced? Is there a website that we could go to here in America to verify, or will that information not be fully available to us until she is properly processed and ready to go back over to Mexico? And I hope you guys follow me, okay? So just let me know your thoughts in the comments, okay? They also go on to say, from there, the Secretary of State decides whether to pass the request on to the Justice Department, which reviews the case for treaty compliance, obtains an arrest warrant, and arrests the fugitive, who then goes before a federal judge or magistrate. The court then decides whether there is probable cause to believe the person committed the offense covered by the applicable treaty. So if she does have to go in front of a judge and it's a decision on whether she needs to go back, I mean, the proof is in the video. So then bye. I mean, you're gone. Let's see. An individual's rights in these hearings are more limited than regular trials. Wow. They cannot appeal the court's ruling, but they may contest the court's jurisdiction. So when you say may contest, the court's jurisdiction, does that mean that they can fight to have a trial here, or to be punished, shall I say, here in America? Is that what you're saying? They say this certification procedure is not a fact-finding endeavor or an independent evaluation of the evidence as would be done in a trial. Girl, so it means you ain't gonna have no trial. There ain't no trial. That's what it sounds like. So rather, it determines whether the facts alleged constitute a crime in the prosecuting country. Okay. Now y'all let me know if I'm misunderstanding, misreading this now, because that's what it sounded like to me. Like she's not going to get a normal trial like some other people. Okay. Especially if they believe that you did the crime, they're just going to let you go on over there and you're going to have to do the time. Extraditions to the United States. Okay, so this is to the United States. We don't really care about that because this person is going from the United States, not to the United States, because they're already here. So then they talk about the Interpol red notice here. Okay, so the Interpol red, because I've been hearing about red notices, and I like to get more clarification myself. Like, what is that? Right. So then they say here, Interpol red notice any of the international police organizations, nearly 200 member countries can, with a valid arrest warrant or court order, request what is known as a red notice for a wanted individual. This notice serves as an alert to police and border agents worldwide. Member countries may, at their discretion, arrest the subject of the notice and initial legal proceedings over extradition. I'm sure they about send a red notice. Yeah, I'm sure they about got a that. They didn't issued an arrest warrant, right? They have. Okay, request what is known as a red notice for wanted individual. The notice serves as an alert to police and border agents worldwide. Member countries may, at their discretion, arrest the subject of the notice and initial legal proceedings. Oh, and initiate. Interesting. Member countries may arrest the subject of the notice and initiate legal proceedings over extradition. Okay. I mean, it still makes me wonder, could they possibly have her, but they not finished with all the paperwork and they just not telling us. So I mean, the verdict is still out, guys. I know we were really excited. I know I was on yesterday to confirm by way of Mexico, because I'm not in Mexico, right? So he's been a big source for a lot of different, outlets. And I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm speaking on other, platforms that are bigger than, some of ours on YouTube or whatnot. But he's been a source for a lot of people. So I definitely understand individuals wanting to trust what it is that he is saying when it comes down to the arrest. It's just that when you're limited on sources and you don't see at least one or two more people like or companies reporting on that, it definitely does come off a bit sketchy. But I'm just, I'm just wondering. That's why I had to pull out, because I was like, okay, I'm reading this, but now I have more questions. Okay. But you guys continue to let me know your thoughts. And I also wanted to know this question. This website, I felt like it was really good because it's answering the questions that I had. So I had to bring this to you guys because I'm sure a lot of you all were thinking how I was thinking. Like this one says, how long does the process take? Okay, timing varies widely from case to case, but the average extradition involving the United States takes more than a year from request to sender. So if this girl is not arrested, if she's not, you mean to tell me that we could be waiting up to a year for this girl to be arrested? Is that what you're saying? Because that's what it sounds like, right? If she's truly not arrested already, that's crazy. Okay. They say some have taken more than a dozen years, while many cases are closed without a fugitive's capture. And I believe it. I believe it because they've been trying to get Miss Young Lady Shakur extradited from Cuba for the longest, and Miss Ma'am has not returned. So, interesting. Okay. We'll see, y'all. We'll see. I mean, hopefully it don't take that long. Hopefully we don't have to wait that long. I am hoping that what Mr. Zuniga has reported is indeed accurate and true. And the only thing I would give him on that, in my opinion, was him coming out about the arrest warrant being issued, and then the very next day we see that that Mexico released their official statement saying that. Now, Mr. Zuniga also said that a lot of his sources are coming by way of the police department, and I will say it kind of sounded like it changed. One minute he says that it's from the police department, and then the next thing he says someone close to the police department. So I'm not sure which one it is, but somebody's affiliated with the police department, whether it's him or someone else, and that's how he's getting his information. But again, as I told you guys in the video regarding the arrest and other videos, it was kind of like, I don't know, like, because I don't know about the police department because y'all sat up there and gave a falsified police report. So that's what definitely had me questioning some things when it came down to that $17,000 that they were saying that was stolen from this young lady. And I just found that to be really sketchy. I'm not sure how that works because I, traveled out of the country, but I've never had racks on me. You know what I'm saying? To have to declare any money when I go there. So I was over there kind of like trying to look that up too. And I'm like, how does that work? Okay. I ended up finding one website, but I feel like I need to do additional research on this, because I was like, how much money can you really take over there? People are saying that, at least Mr. Zuniga said to Chronicle Speaks, he was saying that the police took $17,000 from Shanquella. And I'm just like, is that so? So, I mean, I thought you probably couldn't take more than 10,000, but then as I continue to read, I believe you can take 10,000 or more. I think you just have to be clear on how much money you're bringing into the area. But then the other thing is, I don't know in Mexico if you even can use American dollars or if you would have to convert that money over. So then how does that also work? So it was just a little confusing for me, and that's what made me not 100% believe that part of what he was saying. And I know that he got that information by way of a source, and because of that, I don't believe that part. Okay, somebody in this article, they said, as for money, travelers can enter and leave Mexico with a maximum of $10,000 or is equivalent in another currency. This amount is valid in cash, national or foreign checks, documents to collect, payment orders, or a combination of any of these. Okay. So when I saw that, I'm thinking that's the maximum you could take. So if the maximum she could take is $10,000, where the hell $17,000 came from? That's what I was a little confused about. right? There's also been speculation regarding there's also been speculation regarding the friends taking money like $5,000 or something from her. I believe her parents may have mentioned that in an interview, but I believe also that some were reporting that I guess she paid for the Airbnb and it was like $5,000 and somehow they were able to get their money back because the money was refunded. But I'm like, if the money was refunded, the 5,000 and it was refunded back to her card, who had her card and information to be able to even get the $5,000 off of the card? So it's just some stuff just not really adding up and making sense. And I don't even know if it's supposed to at this time because again, we all are trying to speculate and create theories and just understand a lot of things that doesn't make sense for us. And the only people that's going to really be able to explain it to us are the individuals that was on this trip with Shanquella. Okay, so let's see what else I wanted to discuss as well. So I talked about Interpol, and we're learning that Interpol does not do any arrests, girl, according to what I saw on the justice.gov website, even though in this article by Mr. Zuniga, he does say that she was arrested by Interpol agents. So I don't know if that was a typo and she possibly was arrested by U.S. Marshals or something. But when I tried to look it up, and I'll continue to check and see if there's other ways to find, the international arrest, I'll continue to look. But from what I've seen so far, I don't see her name unless there's a different name that she goes by, and maybe Dejanay is a middle name or something, right? So, but I did not find her. So yeah, we talked about that, talked about the extradition process, okay? Because here's the thing, he also says something else in this article as I go down. He says the extradition process took between 1 and 2 weeks. Took between, or it's going to take between 1 and 2 weeks. So which she just got arrested. She hasn't been extradited yet. And we just found out one last week that an arrest warrant was issued. So and in that article that I read to you guys, they were saying that they have issued an arrest warrant and they were also gathering the documents and everything that's going to be needed for Interpol. So it sounds like the extradition process, I can't even say that it started because they're preparing everything for Interpol. I don't think the process would start until she is indeed arrested. So that is a bit confusing. So when you say it's the word took, it's just certain words within the article that definitely becomes a bit more questionable. The extradition process took between 1 and 2 weeks. So if she is indeed locked up, are you saying that, or arrested, are you saying that in a week or two we're going to be able to see more details like a mugshot? We're going to be able to find her on social media and stuff. Not social media, but doing research, we'll be able to find out more about when she was locked up, where she was locked up, and things like that. Because that's a bit confusing. Okay. And that was pretty much it from the article. It was just a few things, like 2 or 3 things that stuck out to me, and I just wanted to talk about that with you guys, okay, and see if a lot of y'all are on the same page, because I told y'all last night in my video, I said I'm here for it. And if this article is indeed actual factual, and I want to believe at the time that it was because of a lot of other big publications listing him as a source. If it is indeed actual factual, that's awesome. But also what's going to make me feel better is seeing an actual mugshot, which is going to confirm, like, yes, this lady locked up, like, ain't nothing about it. Like, this is the confirmation that we need, and even then, like, it's one of those things where 3 other people or 3 other companies could have reported on it and said that she was arrested, but then still it's like, okay, well, so where the mugshot at? Like, that's when y'all really gonna feel 100% like got like we good, right? So there's that. All right, but I want to transition real quick because I do want to talk about the interview that Gerald did with Mr. Gerardo Zuniga. And let me tell y'all, it was a good interview. I'm not gonna lie. I actually was cackling. I know some people may not be feeling it for the North Carolina beat, but I likes him, honey. I likes him because the way he kept asking them questions and looking confused, I was like, okay, so it's not just me. I'm like, you want to run that? You want to run that one more time because we just want to get an understanding, okay? And I really appreciated him. And I honestly, y'all, he did the best he could, and I still left with a bit of confusion as well as he. But let's go ahead and get into just some of the things that Mr. Gerardo said in that interview. Okay. So he mentioned that, so Gerardo says that he has been covering this case before the Mexican government even found out about this young lady's death. They found out about the death 19 days later. So with her passing away on the 29th and them finding out 19 days later, I must say, in my opinion, that it appears that they moved pretty quickly, because immediately last week we ended up getting an arrest warrant issued. So with that, it's like, okay, so they are trying to definitely move this process along, and I can appreciate it. So if they did find out 19 days later, it seemed like they definitely hopped on it without a doubt. So I can appreciate that. Okay. Gerardo also confirmed that his colleagues informed him. This is where it also got confusing for me. He says that his colleagues informed him that of this young lady's arrest, right? Which once again became a bit sketch for me. Again, I'm just gonna be honest with you, okay? Because this is what I was talking about earlier. It was going from your source being the direct police at the police department to now your source being someone affiliated with the police department. Now, I don't know if you're saying that to try and protect any of the police people that you know by saying that it's an affiliate, or something like that, somebody that's close to the police department. If that's, I'm not sure if you're trying to protect somebody or whatever, but anyway, let's keep going. All right. But this is another thing that was another question for me. He says that he learned about the arrest from a colleague close to the police station, right? Then he also turned around and he said, when Gerald asked, hey, where was she arrested? He says that he does not have all of the information, like where she was arrested, etc., because the process is still ongoing through Interpol. Let me go back and check out Interpol one more time, because that's just a bit confusing, because I thought that they would just gather the documentation and send it over. So let me see again. That's interesting. Okay. Let's see if this tells us anything. Let me see if I can share my screen with y'all. Dangerous criminals on the run must be found and brought to face justice. Fugitives are criminals on the run and as such pose a serious threat to public safety worldwide. Okay, they are mobile and opportunistic, frequently financing their continued fight from the law through further criminal activity, sharing information about fugitives and bringing them back to face justice in the country where they committed the crime has been a core function of Interpol since our creation. It is even more important today in the world where travel is so easy and crimes cross borders so fluidly. Okay. Let's see. We support member countries and other international entities to locate and arrest fugitives. So they support them in arresting, but they don't do no arresting. They support them and arresting. Okay, he says this process is still going through. So, but what's going through? We also provide operational support. Okay, red notice is one of the main tools for tracking fugitives in this Interpol. Okay, which is an alert to all countries to request to locate and provisionally arrest. Okay, so basically, it seems like the red notice is when they send out an alert to everybody, like be on alert. This is the person we're looking for. This is what they look like. This is where they known to frequent X, Y, Z, ABC. We also offer a number of border management tools used in combination with the notices to help detect fugitives attempting to cross borders. Key resources are our SLTD databases, travel and identity documents, and our forensic expertise. So basically, I feel like they sent out some information to, like, the airports and all of that, ships, whatever, all of that information. Operation Locate Fugitives brings together law enforcement officers from around the world to locate and arrest criminals who have fled their national jurisdiction. So it seems like they just pretty much do all the organizing and pull the people in. Okay, when you're about to work on a project, they call in these people, call in that people. We process the paperwork, everybody come together. This is your task. Go out there and find them. The operation focuses on serious cases. Let's see. Officers drawn from different countries work together in special operation rooms, allowing them to work on their specific cases using Interpol's databases and other tools and services. The setup allows them to exploit the context and knowledge that they have that they each have of their own criminal system. So, mm, it still makes me question whether she was truly arrested because there's so much that goes into it if the process is still ongoing through Interpol. What else do, because it seems like Interpol is at the beginning. So it's Mexico issuing something. The next step will be Interpol red notices or whatever, where they sending out these alerts to all of these people. We want all y'all to come together, and here is the task. Okay. Once you task who you need to task, once that person or those group or that group arrests this young lady, then does it go back through Interpol, or does the person get extradited straight back to Mexico? Because it seemed like she has to go in front of the judge or whatever the case may be, XYZ. So now I'm questioning whether or not the source that gave Gerardo the information saying that this young lady has indeed been arrested, whether they were being honest about this arrest. So it's just, I mean, listen, I'm questioning it now. I was super excited yesterday, but today, girl, I mean, well, really later on at night, I started thinking and I started reading over stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna do a video on this later on, so I could tell people what's confusing to me and what's not making sense to me as well, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that's feeling this way. Let's see what else. Excuse me. All right. So Gerardo says that the service worker, because he goes on to talk about Shanquella and how her body was found and everything, because we're hearing stories originally that she was left for dead, is what we were hearing. And then we also heard in a police report that people were there with her when she passed. So it was it was a lot of confusion that was going on. And I don't know if I trust that police report. So if I'm questioning the police report, then it does make me question the source giving information to Gerardo. And I hate to discredit him or anything like that, but I have to be honest. Some things are not calculating for me. All right. So then Gerardo says that the service worker was the one to find her body, according to him, and his sources. They found her sitting up in the same place that she passed away. Didn't make sense, y'all, because then in the same conversation, he says that they dragged her from one room to the other room, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, and I hate to kind of chuckle a little bit, but it's like, baby, what are we doing here? What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, she was found in the same place that she died, but you later on and say that she was brought from somewhere else to another place. And it's the calculation, it's not working. Calculator's not working. He says, but the friends weren't in the room when Shanquella was found, but they were in the villa, because he's saying the service worker found her. And listen, this came out, understand, Gerald had to continue to re-ask and re-ask and re-ask and re-ask to gain an understanding. And I was with him like, wait a minute, the timelines is not timelining. It's not lining up. Okay, let's go back. Let's start here. We get to there, we have to go back. So it's a bit confusing, and I do want to say maybe it's like a language barrier type thing, but I'm like, nah, it can't be, because we have someone, or at least he had someone on the interview that was doing a great job at translating, if you ask me. But let's keep going. So he says the friends were in the room where Shanquella was found, but I'm sorry, they weren't in the room when Shanquella was found, but they were somewhere in the villa. He says the service worker gave the contact to them to call the doctor, because I guess she told them she wasn't feeling well or something, so they ended up calling a doctor. Got the doctor there. The doctor comes. The doctor works on her as much as they can, then says that then the doctor tells them that she's dead. There's nothing else she can do for her. So that's when according to Gerardo, Winter Donovan decided that she was going to call the ambulance for her. Now, in that police report, I don't know if that's exactly what they said. I'm trying to see what that doggone police. I hate that I don't have it up here, y'all. Let me see. Or do I? Oh, no, not. Do I? Is this it? I think I may have it. Let's see. I don't know why this is not working. Okay, let's see. Okay. The information from the police report shows that 2:13 p.m. I just actually want to get to this part, okay? The confirmed with American Medical Center. Where is Winter? Donovan cannot be reached for comment. Okay. The information from police says the doctor was there for close to an hour when Robinson began to have a seizure. The convulsions from the seizure lasted less than 1 minute. At this point, the patient's friend named Winter called 911 to request an ambulance. And that was around 4:20. I think these times are all messed up. The doctor reported that she believed Robinson needed to be transferred to a hospital, but her friends insisted that she be treated in the villa. Something's not adding up. She insisted that they be treated in the villa. Mm. But after the doctor told them, so she told them like, hey, she needs to go to the hospital. So did she tell them that she need to go to the hospital, or did she tell them she did? It ain't nothing else I could do for her. And then that's when Winter called the ambulance. You see the misunderstanding up in all of this. You know what I'm saying? And if this is indeed the actual factual police report word for word, then I'm probably going to go off of what the police report said, even though it is to me still inaccurate and laziness. Even if they did fluff up the story, it was being lazy to cover up. Something's off about it. Okay. So then he says the doctor comes, and once the doctor lets them know that she's dead, it's nothing else they could do for her. That's when Winter calls for the ambulance, and he says that it was like after 12 or at 12 when she was found originally. And then y'all know the times don't make sense, because of course the medical examiner said that she died like at 3 o'clock, and that was 15 minutes after the altercation of the incident happened. And then Gerardo was saying that, that's not the exact time. They give you a roundabout of what they believe that time frame was. So that's a little off, because he also was saying that she had passed away between 7 and noon. So if she passed away between 7 and noon, which I do kind of believe that part for sure, I do believe that happened between 7 and noon, then why? Like, that's what, see, girl, I got confused, because if the lady found her and told them that she was sick, she wasn't feeling well, I think he said that when she touched her, she was getting cold to touch or something like that, or her body started to get hard. And I'm like, did it start to get hard if she's only died for a few hours? I'm not sure how the process worked, but did it? And then then you let the doctor get there, the doctor checking on her, trying to do all of this work or whatever the case, only to find out that, hey, I can't do anything for her. She's passed away. I can't do anything for her. And then y'all decide that y'all finna call. You see how that's not adding up? And then he also went on to talk about the bruises on her face, saying that the bruises, the doctor may not have noticed the bruises on her face because of her complexion. Now I'm really truly not trying to even be funny, but that girl lighter than me. That girl is lighter than me. Y'all would have saw them bruises. Somebody lying. Somebody truly is lying. And if you did not see the bruises on her face, you saw that busted lip. You did. Period. Ain't no way you spent whatever amount of time. It don't take more than 10 minutes to be with a person to realize something is wrong with their face. It just doesn't. And as a doctor, I would think that you would start with the head and work your way down to see what's up with the person. So it's not adding up, sir. Some ain't right. Some in the milk definitely is not clean. Okay. I just made a note to say that Gerald was on point with this interview, because the timelines, as I told y'all, were in question and it was not adding up. Okay. As to when she died, nothing was adding up from the stuff that Gerardo was saying. In my opinion, not everything he said was adding up to the police report, to the medical examiner. Okay. And when you step back and look at it, it gives a bit of everybody on some he say, she say type stuff. And the most likely person to believe is the medical examiner. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that we're trying to grasp a bit of details of what happened inside of that room. So it just makes things a lot of confusing. Okay. So What else? Yes, thank you to the North Carolina Beat, because I felt like this was a good breakdown on this interview. And I loved, as I told you guys earlier, that he was asking a lot of the same questions over and over because he was trying to get an understanding. And I was sitting right there with him, brother, like, yes, because it's not adding, it's not, the calculator's not working. It's not working. We're trying to get an understanding. It's not lining up, okay? Um, I'm not gonna tell y'all what I really wanted to say, but I'm just listen. I appreciated him for that. Okay. I think that, Mr. Gerardo may have another interview coming up. So I'm going to check that out. And I hope that whoever's going to be interviewing him, that I think I will hope, the right questions are definitely asked and we really get somewhere and get a bit of clarity somehow. Okay. But let's keep going. So he does say that the police that did the report are not the same police that's doing the investigation. I could believe that. I think that's a often thing that happens. He says in a report, police reported it was stated that it was a friend that tried to help Shanquella. Yes, it was in this police report. It was somewhere in this police report. They said at this point, the patient's friend, no, we got that part. They got the part. There was another one. The doctor, along with a friend, this right here. Let me scroll up right here. The doctor, along with the friend, began administering CPR at 4:49 p.m. when Gutierrez detected Robinson had stopped having a pulse. Okay. So we all were thinking that this could have possibly been a friend. With us thinking that this could possibly be a friend, a lot of us was wondering whether or not that friend was Nazir, because he went live and he spoke on how he was there for her. He was rubbing her hair. He was doing all of these things. But now I'm questioning, baby, how are you doing that at 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, sir, when the man is saying that the girl was dead between the hours of 7 and 12? If that is indeed true. Okay. Now, again, the medical examiner did list it at 3 o'clock. So if the medical examiner is indeed correct, then that might possibly coincide with what Nazir is saying, but it's still confusing because if she died at 3 and you didn't get there till about 3 or 3:30, still the young lady had passed. So what did you think you were doing? I asked this question weeks ago. Were you rubbing a corpse? I was confused. So the timelines, they're not timelining, as I've said before, okay? But according to Mr. Gerardo, he said he wanted to clear up that it was not a friend that tried to help Shanquella along with the doctor. He says that it was another paramedic. Okay, it was another paramedic, not a friend. He says, yeah, the doctor may not have seen her bruises because of her complexion. But okay, because I'm just like, great, some dark Mexicans. Like, wait, so like, that don't even make no sense. Like, because of her complexion. Like, you have people that look like her, like, y'all all ain't the same color. Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, that ain't got to do with me, girl. Let's keep going. Like, all right. So anyway, so yeah, but what was interesting, I did make a note that the reporter actually, to me, kind of debunked some of the things that Nazir was saying, and we kind of already talked about that as far as the timeline of him arriving. Nazir saying that she was in the bathroom over the toilet or something like that. So it was, and he performed CPR and all this and that. Like, it was really confusing. And then when you hear earlier on when Mr. Zuninga was talking, he was saying that, because this is what got confusing, because Nazir also was saying that she was found in the bathroom and then they took her somewhere else. So then Mr. Zuninga said that the girl was found in the living room or somewhere. The service worker found her. But then he also said in the same interview that she was moved from one location to the next. And it's like, at what point did that happen? Because the lady found her and the friends was nowhere around. So are you saying that's what they did earlier on? It's not making any sense, especially when you go to the timelines as to when this girl passed. Like, what the hell is happening? Let's see what else. Okay. Yeah, he says that, yeah. So basically, Nazir, your story is not 100%. I know a lot of people want to give you grace and a lot of people want to say that you're innocent. And I'm not saying that you're not. I'm just saying that your story still has some questionable aspects about it. And that's primarily due to the police report that's coming out or has come out, and also to, the statements of Mr. Zuninga and the medical examiner. Some of the times the times are not on your side. And what else? So then I also said that it's not adding up in comparison to the police report. Okay. The problem is the faultiness of the police report. So we really don't know who the hell to believe, in all honesty. He does confirm this, which is very interesting to me. He confirms to Gerald that there is only one video. There is only one video. And I'm sitting over here like, what? Because you just went over to the lead attorney and you told him, because I remember making a note of that. That was like the first thing that I mentioned. And again, the lead attorney was translating. So I don't know if something got lost in translation or what. But what was said over on the lead attorney's channel, okay, was that there were two videos that you were confirming. So now you're saying that there's only one video, there's not two videos. This is messy. Interesting. Okay. He confirms that a lot of people were asking whether or not Dejanay Jackson was indeed a man or trans or whatever it was y'all was asking. I don't believe none of that. You know, I am hearing stories that this lady just had a baby, so I'm not believing that. And he says that he wanted to clear that up. This woman is not trans, according to Mr. Gerardo. He said the reason why they labeled her as trans, which it doesn't make sense fully to me, okay, even if you are Mexican, but you know, that's just to me, was because she was taking wigs on and off. Was that the only reason, or was it because she was tall, dark skinned? Was it that too? Because I'm sure it was more than just her putting her wigs on and taking her wigs off for the service workers, so they thought that she was trans. Like, I'm sure it was more than just a wig, you know. But either way, you know, I'm sure a lot of us could care less which one it was, honestly, because she still committed a crime, and likely it resulted in this young lady not being here with us today. Okay, when it comes to Miss Shanquella. So I just wanted to give y'all my thoughts, okay, and let y'all know that I understand, okay? I truly understand. There's so much information that's going out here, so many people talking and saying this and saying that and da 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 da. I am gonna be honest, I'm probably gonna be a bit more reserved when I see when these articles go up over on his page. Even though he has been used, as I showed you guys, the Charlotte Observer. The Charlotte Observer has been around for many years, decades, you know, so that's definitely a credible source in my eyes. So when you have some individuals like them or a company like that quoting him as a source, I would want to believe that it is indeed true. But just after watching some of the interviews, some things are definitely a bit skeptical to me. So I'm not saying, you know what, I won't say that we won't talk about it, because it's always open for discussion, right? But it's gonna be a piece of a grain of salt when it comes to it, just a little bit. But you know, we'll know for real, what's really going on, especially if we end up getting more details about an arrest actually taking place this week. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that to you guys, my thoughts, all of that. That's really it. Okay, I thank you guys so much for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. I know y'all gonna do that anyway, because that's just how y'all is. Okay, be sure to like the video. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel, go ahead and do that as well. And yeah, I'll continue to, you know, cover the things that I do find out about Miss Shanquella. And yeah, I'll continue to do that, whether, you know, it's right or wrong. If it's wrong, we'll work on getting it right, and we'll continue to discuss it in hopes of getting justice for this lady's family. Because at the end of the day, with all of the slick stuff everybody has to say, that is the bigger picture. Okay, so that's all that I got. I thank you guys so much for watching. Okay, I'm Jamie That's Me. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Jamie That's Me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.